You're now listening to season 4 of Evolving Through Vulnerability with Mariana Garola. Welcome to this podcast where we discuss everything around relationships, parenting, and career. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? It's your amazing host, Mariana Garola. Welcome back to another episode on Evolving Through Vulnerability with me. On this week's episode, we're going to be playing back an interview that I just did with the best-selling author and podcaster, Shakira O. Amazing. I'm super excited to be talking about and be sharing with you guys my journey on writing my book, A Letter to the Younger Me. I'm super excited about it. It does come out on February 5th on Amazon and anywhere you can purchase books, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to go ahead and get a sneak peek of the introduction on my book, make sure you guys head to my website, www.author-marianagarola.com. I'll make sure to leave the link in the description below so that way you guys can go ahead and get a sneak peek, read my book, and then to also get an autographed copy on my book, make sure you guys subscribe to my email list, okay? I'll check you guys at the end of this podcast episode for more information. Peace.
This is your girl, Shakira Amazing in the building. And not only that, I have a very special guest. And before I semi-introduce her, because, she's going to introduce herself, because, it just sounds better that way. Season 2 of the Social War podcast, I will be highlighting authors. And I'm highlighting self-published authors, because that is who I am, a self-published indie author. Amazon bestselling author of I Am Not Your Average Black Woman, which is a collection of poetry currently on Amazon. And then also my special guest also is a co-author project with me titled From Pain to Power. We're going to get into that. And then she also has her own separate book along with the podcast. So, further ado, I want to introduce a Amazon two-time best-selling author. Her name is Mariana. I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I'm going to mess it up. But I'm going to have her do it because she do it so well. And y'all going to take it from there. So, welcome, Mariana. Yes, thank you. Now, real quick, right? What's your nationality, Mariana?
I am an Afro-Latina, so my mother is Black and my dad is Mexican. I'm born and raised here in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. So, I've never moved around.
Okay, well, I'm so happy to have you on this podcast. And you have wonderful things to talk about. Okay, you have your own podcast as well titled Evolving Through Vulnerability.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Which is a recent episode that I listened to, which is episode 24. And it's called Ice Ice Baby. I took some notes from it, just a few little things that we'll go over. And then also you have 2 books, right? A Letter to the Younger Me.
Yes.
And we are both co-author on a project with Shannon Posh Anderson titled From Pain to Power. Okay.
I'm super excited. We got so many exciting things coming up.
Yes, we do. Okay, so just the FYI, okay, this is in January, so the time I drop it is going to be February. That's why I said Amazon bestseller 2 times for Mariana. Y'all understand where I'm going?
We manifesting 2022.
Yes. So the time y'all ask to listen to in February, we already going to be on Amazon, whatever, and y'all going to buy the stuff, and she going to tell you where to get her stuff. So, absolutely. Mariana, we gonna do like a combo type thing, not really so much an interview.
Of course.
And my questions, right? Because you my first author interview on the Soul Superwoman Season 2 premiere podcast here. And so, how I'm gonna do the combo is I'm gonna ask the who, what, when, where, and why. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds good. Let's get into the tea.
Okay, let's get into the tea. Who is Mariana?
Mariana is a Afro-Latina woman. I am a mother. I am a podcaster. I am a author. I'm fearless, ambitious. I'm an activist, go-getter. That is who Mariana is.
What do you want people to know about your mission? I know you have a mission. That's why I'm asking that.
Yes. My mission is to basically inspire, create stuff, create content, create things that will help inspire. And with creating those things and, hoping it'll bring some type of inspiration builds a community. And within that community, it's really important to communicate things. So my mission is always about creating, inspiring, building, and communicating. And that is something. For every piece of content or a project or a book that I write or a podcast that I give out, that is always a big part of my mission is to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
that is always felt or come across in anything that I do, because the things that I wanted to promote and communicate with my mission is, the things that society expects from us is not the reality of the things that people go through. When
Mm-hmm.
it comes to, it's easier said than done, as the saying always goes. And that's the absolute truth. I like to pinpoint light on the conversations, the hard topics people don't like to have conversations with, regardless if it's related sex, trauma, childhood trauma, generational curses, what it is to be a young adult, financial. These are topics that a lot of people don't really want to have the conversations about, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how we live in the society that, we live in today. And we all have fake expectations when in reality, people are going through things. And unless we have communication, unless we have a community where we feel that it's an open space to talk and communicate about these things, we're all failing, I feel like.
Mm.
Be- you know
Go
what I
ahead,
mean?
girlfriend. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So
Uh,
my mission
I'm
is
sorry.
really
Go ahead.
important.
Okay, my bad, girl. My bad.
Oh no, you're
This
good.
is strictly organic, FYI, people. So when did you start writing?
You know what? When I was in school, I would always be really good at having these crazy topics and these crazy good, stories and stuff like that. But I could just never really articulate what I wanted to say and, convey how I wanted to come across to the reader.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually just, wrote a lot of poetry, read a lot of books, but I never really shared my work. And, we all have this point in our life where, we go through something or we have a story or, we have this traumatic event happen to us or a pivotal moment. And we're just like, you know what? Someone can use this. This right here is
Mm.
powerful. This right here could be a message. This right here could be something. And within those moments that, we have an epiphany of what this could actually be, that's when we need to take action. So that's when I say, you know what? It's on my bucket list. I always said I wanted to write a book. Why not? You know what I mean? Fuck it. Let me write a book. So that's
Oh,
when
oh
I,
yes.
took initiative and, I did it and I was really excited and it was really empowering to me and really powerful for me to write and to, you know what? I'm not only motivated to share my story, but I'm motivated to make my story be helpful for others.
Mm. Now, Mariana, right? You kind of on the young side, right?
I'm a little
So
baby.
yeah. So I just want to say that you have an old soul. Have you heard people say that to you before?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I've never heard I've heard one person tell me that I had an old soul and it's my daughter's grandmother, but I always felt like I had an old soul. I've always been around older adults. I've always kind of been old school how the way I do things and I always felt that way spiritually. I always felt like I had an old soul, to be quite honest with you.
Yes, I know because when I was your age back in the day, yeah, people would say that about me, and so I just felt the need to say that. And do you mind disclosing to the people your age, if you don't mind?
Oh, absolutely not. I am 24 years old. I'm a Scorpio, baby.
Oh, okay. Wait a second, Scorpio. What month is that
Hmm.
again? October.
Oh, on November 14th. Yep, I'm a
Okay, I thought it
Scorpio,
was.
born
I know it wasn't no
1997.
summer. All right. Because if it was summer, I would have felt some type of way with the whole pandemic. I'm just saying, I'm feeling some type of way about people born in the summer, but we're not gonna go there. Okay. Question: a part of my who, what, when. Where? Tell the people. Where you from again, and where they can find you, Mariana?
Of course. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and you can find me on my website at www.author-marianagarola.com. You can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts, Evolving Through Vulnerability. You can also find me on Instagram at author Mariana Garola.
Okay, and I'll have all your information in the description, whatever you call
Perfect.
it.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, and next, last but not least, for the why, and then we're gonna talk about this podcast and the book, of course. Why do you think it's important for people to tell their stories, especially when the stories are traumatic, from your perspective?
Absolutely. I feel like life is a building point, a learning lesson. Something that always stuck with me in my childhood that my grandfather always told me was improvise, adapt, and overcome. And the events that we go through and the traumas that we experience or the pivotal moments, life changes that we go through because we go through them, regardless if it's seasonally, regardless if it's, through a relation, through whatever type of interaction that really shifts a change in your life and you feel that change, as if it's internally or externally in the things that you see and how the way you maneuver through life, we have to improvise. Things just happen. We always have to be on our toes. And by being on our toes, we're humans, we're a species, we have to adapt. And through adapting, we kind of overcome that. And by overcoming, that's when we become more powerful, more knowledgeable. And by doing that, I'm a big believer in each one, teach one. So if I know I went through something and I can help someone not go through the struggle, but kind of, give them a little help along the way, I'm going to do that. So that's why it's really important to me to share my story. I think it's really important that we share a story, that goes back to building community, that goes back to allowing an open space for communication. I don't know about you, but growing up, especially, an Afro-Latino, household and stuff, and it was always kind of frowned upon therapy. Whatever happens in the household stays in the household. And that's a generational curse that I'm breaking personally in my family, how the way I raise my daughter. And a lot of this stuff, to be quite honest with you, starts in the household. And when it starts in the household, that's how the way, we maneuver through life and how the way we get older and stuff. So it's really important to, spread that awareness really young and in the household. Communication is key. And, by communicating through it, you're healing through it. And by healing through it, you can help other people through it because you're going to be able to communicate better. You're going to be able to use your words more. A lot of people don't know how to talk to people these days. So if you don't know how to talk to someone, how can you help? So
I feel you, Mariana. What is Mariana's story? And then I'm gonna get into the book first, because the book and then the podcast.
Of course. I grew up in a two-parent household, and I have three older siblings. Three older sisters, same mom, different dads, and then I have a little brother, same mom and same dad. And I grew up in a household where my dad was around with my other sisters. I'm lighter complected, so I grew up with colorism. Not only from my sisters, but from my Mexican side of the family. I was either too black or too light, or getting too dark because I tanned really well. My dad stuck around, so that was always an issue, because my dad was there and others weren't, and my dad cared to provide. And then later on, when I started realizing that my Mexican side was very prejudiced towards my mom and who I was, and something that was a part of me, I started to act out, because I didn't like it. I was very confused on why they couldn't accept me for me. I didn't ask, I'm just here.
Right.
I'm a child of God. So I grew up, really feeling like I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in religiously because I had a side of the family who was Catholic and one side of the family who was Christian. Colors I stuck around. So I always felt stuck, and I just felt like I was constantly going through things and questioning things and trying to figure things out and stuff. So it was always a fight. It was always a strive to figure something out or do something, or it was always, oh, you think you're better, or you think you're this and stuff. So a lot of soul searching, a lot of trying to figure things out, a lot of battles, not only internally with myself and trying to accept the things around me, and then really try to mold and figure out, who is Mariana? You know what I mean? Am I black? Am I Mexican? No, I'm Afro-Latina. Am I light skin? Am I brown skin?
Do you speak Spanish,
What am I?
Mariana?
I speak a little bit of Spanish. I know I understand a lot more than what I can speak. Yes.
Okay, so Paquito. Okay.
Yes.
Now, Mariana, that was a good answer, right? So,
Yes.
a letter to the younger me, I had read some of it because I subscribed, right, to your
Yes.
website.
Thank
And
you.
I was reading through it and I got to finish it because it was some good stuff, right? Now, there was two parts that I read so far that stuck out to me. And I'm going to ask you to elaborate a little bit more because I felt it resonated with me actually. There's a part in there where it says I never truly healed. So I
Yes.
want you to explain to the people, what does that mean?
In my book, A Letter to the Younger Me, I talk about 4 pivotal moments in my life that really stuck out to me that I feel like can resonate with everyone. Love, parenthood, spirituality and faith, and career. I never healed from really any of these things, but the one thing I really never healed from was love because I feel like that kind of altered who I am, spiritually through my I never really healed when it came to how the way I was raised growing up because I feel like my dad never loved me because I was too an image of my mother. So I never healed my relationship with my father even till this day. And didn't heal that, as cliche as it sounds, it, kind of created, I need an older man, dad situation. I have dad problem. Even though I had a 2-parent household, doesn't mean there was love in that household. Doesn't mean it's a good representation of what love was or it was supposed to be, or what connection was, or proper display of affection toward one another. And so in terms of that, when it came to time for me to be with somebody, my daughter's father is older than me for one. For two, what I thought was love was disrespect. Me catering to someone, me accepting if someone didn't love me, but I needed to go harder for them to love me. Compromising myself for another person to feel loved, So I never, it all starts with some type of trauma in your childhood that develops you over time, something that you carry. I never really healed when it came to my relationship in my household as a child with my parents, especially my father. Later on, that catered me to not healing in a relationship that I had built, or I thought I had built, or I thought was acceptable, which was really toxic and traumatic for me as a young adult with my daughter's father. And I'm still healing through that. And this book was a big part. It was, let me relive this, get it out on paper, tell you how I feel, tell you what you did to me, the trauma I was feeling, so that way I can heal. So that way I know that that is out. It's no longer resonating inside of me, but it is out on paper. It's not only a letter to a younger me, but it's a letter to you, letting you know you were that chapter that left. You were that trauma that is gone. That is that.
Okay. Another part that definitely resonated with me was, and I felt this to be so true, we can't always be the victim. We all play both sides of victim and villain. The sooner we look in the mirror, the sooner we can identify the demon we need to defeat. Air quote, because I got this from straight from your book, right?
Yes.
I felt this to be powerful, Mariana, because it's true, right? And I feel that it's true. Sometimes, in some circumstance, we do want to play the victim, but then sometimes we do some fucked up shit too, where it's like, all right, now you ain't the victim, right?
Absolutely. I'm petty, so I'm a squirrel. I know.
Well, I'm petty too, and I'm a Pisces. So now, when you wrote this, a letter to the younger me, what was you going through your mind? Like, were you concerned? Oh my God, I'm gonna be spilling the tea about myself, and people judge me, type thing.
You know what? When I was writing the first chapter, my love chapter, I was really scared. That chapter and my spirituality chapter were the top 2 chapters that were really scary for me. Because writing that, I was a victim, in my situation. I was the victim, but I was also the villain. I was the villain because I chose to stay. I chose to compromise for another person. When they told me that they didn't love me, I wanted to show them different. I thought I can change a person. And what I really learned is that you can't change nobody. As they come up and they show you who you are, you better believe that version of them, because that they're showing you. Actions speak louder than words. You hear older adults, people with more wisdom, more seasoning to them, and they tell you, they're going to show you better than they can tell you. And I just couldn't, it never resonate. It could never stick with me, but it was so true and so powerful. He showed me every day how he didn't love me, how he didn't care. And I just chose to not see it. I chose to ignore the red flags because I needed and I wanted love so much.
Yes, Mariana, girl.
Yes.
I understand. understand, girl. It is.
Yes.
It's so mind-boggling to me. And not to shy away from what we're talking about with you, but
No, of
people don't
course.
understand abuse comes in so many forms. And
I mean,
people think it's
verbally,
just
physically.
physical. And it always starts verbally.
Yes.
Always. And
Yes.
it's damaging, right? And so it's important. I highly encourage people to speak to professional people when you go through certain trauma because what's the word? Debilitate you. Is that the word?
It
All
can
right. Don't
debilitate you. It can belittle
Okay,
you.
that's the word. Good.
Hmm.
Don't judge me, y'all, because I be mispronouncing the words here on the Social One podcast. Now, I highly encourage people to get their shit together because listen, we
Absolutely.
can't always be the victim because I'm gonna say this, and I ain't trying to be offensive to nobody, but I feel like if you like in your 40s, right, and you still rendering to about mommy didn't love you and daddy didn't love you, and this person left and that person left, you need therapy, okay? Because we're
Yes.
not gonna be doing this in our 60s either. Like at some point, unfortunately, you gotta clean up your own shit. Okay.
Absolutely. We got to normalize, therapy too within the Black community because the Black community, that's where it starts. So we don't believe in therapy.
Nope. We be like, oh, just pray on it. Listen, I ain't against praying, but come on now. Listen, God give resources, okay? And therapy ain't the devil. I'm just saying, I'm sure you've heard it all, okay? And I think that's the problem with society. We get caught up in things. Oh, well, it don't look right. You going to somebody that took a bunch of problems. Yeah, a professional. There's people who study mental health. Like mental health is real.
Absolutely.
Okay. Your
Absolutely.
mama can't tell you what to do. You gonna listen to your mama who's just as toxic as you because hello, she your mama. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? We be listening
Yes.
to our mama, our friends, our family members, especially on relationships. But then it's like, all right, you look at your grandparents, and then it's like, well, my grandparents been together 30 years. That don't mean it was a healthy relationship.
Absolutely, especially back in the day, older folks, they're old
Please.
school. Women, back in the day, they had to obey their husbands. You know what I mean? They paid the bills. They stayed home and take care of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the women did. So
Yeah.
majority of the time it wasn't, a good relationship. And then they had so many kids that they knew their husbands were out cheating too. So it all starts once again, like I said, it starts in the household. It really, really, and
Yeah.
no one can give you advice about something in your life or your situation if they themselves have blinders on and have their own fucked up situation. I'll never take relationship
Exactly.
advice from someone who got a fucked up relationship. That's just me.
Girl, I done
I
run
never
into
take parenting advice on
friends.
somebody who's not a parent. That's just what it is.
Girl, I done run into friends who toxic as hell and they gonna tell me some shit. And I'm looking at them like, hold up. Or your single girlfriend's trying to give you advice and you married. Married women don't listen to no single woman. I'm just saying, okay? Because that
I
ain't what you
agree.
do.
I agree.
Now, okay, so this is good stuff, Mariana.
Thank
Now,
you.
this Evolving Through Vulnerability podcast, Ice Baby. I was like, oh, she's talking about Vanilla Ice. So let me see what she's saying, right? So I listened to it. I said, oh, okay. Now, I found it to be very motivating, right?
I appreciate that.
And
Thank you.
there was an acronym in there. Listen, y'all asses gotta listen to it because we ain't gonna spill too much information on this because that means you gotta listen to it, right, man? They
Oh
gotta
yeah, they
listen.
gotta come. They gotta come to the podcast and get all
And
the tea.
subscribe. Don't be lazy now. I'm just saying, just press the button to subscribe.
Click
Anyway,
one button.
I left a comment on one of your stuff. I forget. I left a comment. I don't know if you're going to see it, but I left a comment on the podcast episode, Ice Baby. So let me know if you get it. I think it was through your website. I don't remember, Maria.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely take a look.
So there's an acronym in there that I like, and I need you to tell me what it is again because I was trying to write it down, and I was like, damn, I ain't write it down. ICE, ICE. What that stand for?
ICE is inspire, create, and elevate.
Girl, you gonna get that on a T-shirt and sell it as a part of your brand?
Absolutely, that is part of the mission. That to
And how
inspire,
did I
create,
know
and
that? I
elevate.
didn't know that, Mariana. You didn't tell me that.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you. I'm
I
gonna make
like
sure
it.
I
I was
get you
like,
a designated shirt.
Girl, thank you. I found that to be good. And I like your personality and anyone that come on the Social podcast, I just tell them you gotta just be yourself. Like if you
Absolutely.
can't be yourself on my podcast, on my platform, then I don't want to fuck with you because you gotta feel comfortable. And I want anyone that comes on my podcast to feel comfortable, right? And I'm always myself 24/7, every day, all day. Shakira O'Mason, right?
All right.
And
Let them know.
what, yeah. And so anybody come on my podcast, they gotta have an open mind and ain't no snooze fest here, right? So I was
Right.
like, you know what? I fucked with Mariana. Now, we on a co-author project from Pain to Power, Mariana.
Absolutely. I'm
And
excited for it to drop.
girl, me too. And I want to ask, what was your segment about? And I'll talk real quick about what mine was.
My chapter is Don't Abandon Ship. I basically talk about what vulnerability is and how to identify yourself and how to not use it as a crutch, but to use it as a power. And then I go into talking about journey, having patience, the journey to power, and how, vulnerability can interact with that journey and how to recognize that the journey is something to be inspired about. Because that's what's going to help you evolve. That's what's going to help you elevate yourself. And then the last thing that I cover within that chapter is finding yourself. When we're going through trauma, when we're going through pain and we feel like giving up, we lose ourselves. Or, the event itself makes us lose ourselves. So it's really important as you're healing to, allow yourself to feel. And when you feel, you're going to learn yourself all over. It's just like any breakup, you shed off it, you're like your snake or a lizard, you shed
Ew,
skin.
listen to Mariana. That's kind of creepy, but go ahead.
You gotta shed skin to build new tough skin. You know what I'm saying? You have
I
to.
agree.
Absolutely. So you have to relearn yourself, relearn what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept, what you went through and how you don't want to feel that again. I talk about that in my book too, how we as humans have to go through something traumatic in order to learn from it. If I tell you that stove is going to burn you and you go over there and you touch that stove, that's the only way you're going to learn that it actually burns you. And it's
You got that
sad.
in there too.
Yeah, so that's what I talk about in Don't Abandon Ship in my chapter for Pain to Power. What is
Okay.
your chapter about?
You named your chapter. I ain't named mine. I don't know what I said. I don't remember. My my chapter in the book is about. I go into detail of my domestic violence marriage.
Okay.
I give details, and I talk about I was sexually assaulted. I talk about all throughout my marriage. Not from my spouse, but I was sexually assaulted by my sister-in-law's boyfriend. So I talk about that. I talk about I was in an abusive relationship before I got the husband. So, girl, I basically just highlight my pain, and I talk about the pain to the point I needed to change some things about me because I was making bad choices when it comes to relationships to men, and finally was able to get into therapy, finally able to acknowledge that I struggle with self-love, even
Yeah.
to this day. So I'm so big on my brands and focusing on trauma healing. Not only that, but just loving yourself all the time,
Yeah.
right? People think self-love is like a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. Like one
Nope.
day,
It's
like
every
it's
day.
one full week. Right.
Every day.
Every day, something gonna make you feel like shit. Let's just keep it 100,
Absolutely.
right? And
Absolutely.
so I'm very big on that. And I didn't think I was going to survive my domestic violence. And so my chapter is very detailed and graphic, and it may be a trigger for some people. And that's, unfortunately, I can't hide that, right? I got to talk about it because it's helping me to help someone else. I
Absolutely.
brushed this under the rug for 5 years, Mariana. Nobody knew I was being physically abused,
I'm
right?
sad. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Did
So
you ever blame yourself?
all the time, girl. I was like, I should have known better. I was like, why let him do that to me? It's it's a process. And you got to be able to take your time. I think people want to rush healing,
Yeah, you
and
can't rush healing.
they want to rush feeling good. You got to be real. You're not going to feel good all the time. And it's okay. Let the shit out. Okay. If you got to cry and get the boogers out your nose, like whatever you got to do, right, Mariana? just,
You do all that.
just do it. I don't like crying because it gives me a migraine. Anyway,
I know that's right.
I be like, Lord, now I need an aspirin. But I'm so comfortable now to talk about the abuse. Okay, and I'm gonna keep talking about it because like I said, for 5 years I was just covering it up, covering it up, covering it up. I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not blaming nobody. I'm not shaming nobody. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just telling my story because everyone got a story, right? And from my perspective, right, my perspective is that's what happened. So I can't wait until I read everyone's other story in the book because I don't know what everyone else wrote about. Oh my!
What I think the best part about the co-author project itself is that everyone has a story, and authors, us as women, it's so empowering to read and the voice and feel what other people's stories are, because at the end of the day, we just see people. We see people walking down the street. We don't know what they're going through unless we open up and talk about it. And like you said, you have to get point where you're comfortable to open up and talk about your trauma, to talk about what you went through, because it's nothing easy, to be quite honest with you. In my young, not to jump back, but I talk about
it's
how,
okay, girl. This your thing. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you, but this your thing. Go ahead, girl.
You just you said you were sexually abused and stuff, and I to highlight that, I also, mention it, my childhood and how I was sexually abused. And it's going to be a trigger for a lot of people who read that, because not everyone in my family knows it. And it was actually someone in my grandma's church who sexually abused me. So if my grandma, buys and reads my book, which I definitely believe she will, she said she was, her first time hearing it and, reading the detail of what happened.
Oh my.
Yeah, so there's going to be some, when they say the T drop, mic drop,
yeah, girl, ooh,
there's one way to catch people's attention is telling your story through a book and be like,
they
oh,
gonna
I
be
guess
like,
you gotta read it to figure it out.
Wait, she talking about me?
Ooh, yeah,
I ain't saying names. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Oh Lord. I must say that we never met. Like, this is all through Shannon. Shout out to Shannon Posh Anderson.
Yeah.
And yes, I hope she got more projects like this. And also, are you in her magazine too, right?
Yes.
You are right. Me too, girl.
Yeah. Us magazine.
Yes, girl. We got magazine, book, podcast. This is good stuff. I just love your energy, Mariana, and you make me feel young, girl, because let me tell you, right?
Thank you. You are not old. Don't be lying to these people.
Girl, let me tell you. And you know what's funny? I ain't even telling the name of the damn podcast. I mean, the episode. What? I call it Boss Up. I call it Boss Up Indie Authors. I know I'm mad late with the damn title. Look, don't judge me, y'all. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Is there anything you want people to know about you before we wrap this up? Anything you want to leave the people with?
Absolutely. I definitely want to say that this is my first time really, and something I'm really proud of. And with me writing this book, the great thing about my book is it's interactive. So I allow the reader to read a passage or read a chapter and then resonate, some key points in my book where they can write inside of the book and really resonate and kind of reflect, and then, continue reading and stuff like that. And, another great thing about my book is because it's 4 pivotal moments, regardless of, I feel like everyone has been in love, through love, or had a love experience. Not everyone is a parent, but they might know someone who's a parent, or you can even look at it, how the way you grew up and how the way you saw your parents in your childhood. And, so every chapter, spirituality or even career, a chapter is going to resonate with someone. You can read my book from cover to cover, chapter to chapter, or just one specific chapter that resonates with you. Something is going to stand out. And I hope, I pray that there's a message in there that can help someone. There's a letter in there. There's a lesson in there that can really stick with someone and really, create that ice. It's going to create and build, and it's going to help me do this as the writer. As the reader, you're going to get, it's going to help me help you.
Listen, so when I'm going to get my autographed copy, Mariana?
I'm going to make sure that I give it to you, sign it for you, and then hopefully by then I'll have my shirts, ice, printed out and ready, and I can send it to you as well. Thank you so much. I'm super excited.
Now, listen, once again, right? Because, people got to pay attention. This podcast is February, in the beginning of February, I don't know the date. So we recorded it in January, right? So when y'all listen to it, the book is already out, right?
The book is already out. Yes.
Yeah. So Mariana, one last time for the people, where can they purchase the book and where can they listen to your podcast?
Absolutely. So my podcast, Evolving Through Vulnerability with Mariana Garola, is out on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to it on YouTube or wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow the podcast Instagram at evolving_vulnerability. You can catch me on Instagram at author Mariana Garola. You can purchase my book on Amazon, A Letter to the Younger Me. And then you can also purchase an autographed copy on my website, www.author-marianagarola.com.
Mariana, I must say I enjoyed this conversation. And
yes, thank you.
I hope to have you back, because I gotta have you back. Because remember, we got to talk about the From Pain to Power in more detail.
Oh, yes. I got to get you on my podcast as well. My listeners are going to love your energy. They're going to love your story. Girl. They're going to love everything about you.
Yes, this is good. We are networking. We are working together. It's hard out here in these streets.
It's very, very hard for indie authors and publishers. It's hard out here for women bosses, women authors. So this collaboration, these projects, being a healer, being an activist, this is, really, really important, to build that community and promote that conversation and stuff. So I'm you have a platform, and you're still healing, but you're still able to talk about, these things and stuff and help people along the way. I'm sure you have a lot of listeners that you have helped. So, shout out to you and kudos to you. And I can't wait to see what your 2022 brings. I'm super excited to, work on more projects and collaborate more with.
Yes, this is going to be so great. And this is a great season 2, episode 1 premiere. I'm so proud of myself. And this is going to be a great season for the Soul Food podcast. So we are actually wrapped. We done. The conversation was natural, was flowing. Feel good. I thank you again, Mariana, for coming, taking time out your schedule.
Oh, yes. I appreciate you. And I thank you so much for allowing me the platform to share my story, to share my message, my mission, talk about the book, not only my book, but the book that we're collaborating and working on together. It's such a great opportunity. So thank you.
Yes. So Mariana, on the Soul Food podcast, we sign out by saying, so we gon' holla.
What's up, you guys? So I'm super excited you guys were able to go ahead and listen to that interview that I did with the amazing Shakira O Amazing. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to her podcast wherever you listen to podcasts at SO Superwoman Podcast, okay? And I just wanted to tell you guys, I'm super excited once again to be sharing my journey, my book with you guys. Like I said, it's going to be on Amazon on February 5th, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This book, I put a lot of heart, soul, and time into, and a lot of tea in my personal life. Like I said, I feel like my book can resonate with just about anyone. I know when they say you write a book, you should have a target audience, you should have a niche, something that you're talking about, something that you're trying to do. But instead of my first book being something, about a brand or a business, I really wanted my first book to be something really personable, to gain the trust of my audience, to find out who my audience is and, what people really want from me, what really resonates them most with, and then kind of come back, wrap it up, and figure out what I can do brand-wise and business-wise. But this book means so much to me, A Letter to the Younger Me, because we all have that knowing what I know now moment. And, just looking back, where we are from right now and looking back to when we were younger, I feel like we all just think like, fuck, like I would have made some decisions differently and stuff. And, if I had a rule book or the blueprint, or if I had the answers and stuff. And I just feel like, we go through life and we gain so much knowledge and wisdom over the experiences and the moments that change and happen in our life. And we don't stop to think about them until that situation happens and occurs and it's really affecting us and creates trauma or an emotion. And, we're stuck in, feeling that emotion or that time or that experience. And we're just like, fuck, and some of it all, doesn't always have to be bad. Some of it can be great and positive moments, but typically we remember more bad than we do good. And we have to really think about the good. You know what I'm saying? So in this book, A Letter to the Younger Me, you can read it from chapter to chapter. You can read it, cover to cover, or, specific chapters that resonate with you or that you think would resonate with you or that you're just curious about because you want to be nosy about my life. Fuck it. At that point, you might as well read from cover to cover. But, I'm excited that I was able to step away from the podcast, really hone in on writing this book for you guys and, giving you guys my all, my heart, allowing myself to, heal when writing this book and re-experience these experiences and, make sure that I have a good tangible read for you guys. This book, once again, is really interactive. After every single chapter, I give like a little script or a little area where you guys can write and interact and reflect on. And I ask some type of questions and stuff like that within the book. So I'm super excited to see how your guys' reflections go and what chapter did you like the most and which one resonated with you the most? Which lesson did you feel like was, you guys were able to resonate with more with, and what lesson was better than the other, and what should I have done differently? Should tell me something I don't know. And, even if you guys just read the letters, that I say, dear readers, that I write to you guys, giving you guys some information and dropping gems. I'm just really excited to hear your guys' feedback more on the book than I am, selling the book. I would really love and appreciate just genuine feedback. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it interesting? Was it not what you expected? Did you expect more? I just want feedback because it's going to allow me to only do better and create better. And, like I said, my mission is to create, inspire, and build this community. I love talking with you guys. I love being able to talk about my child and parenting. And I want to talk about my parenting a lot more and what my childhood was like when it came, on my upbringing. I definitely want to get more into my relationship with Darian and where we are at and what we plan to do and what frustrates, us about each other. And I want to, get more into a career where I am and where I'm trying to be and where I'm trying to go. I feel like, these things, these 3 topics on this podcast, you're going to see a lot of vulnerable moments with me. You're going to hear about a lot of shit with me. And this is the only way that I can be real and reflect with you guys and really heal and really talk and just be my genuine self. So I'm super excited what this season 4 is going to bring, what this podcast is going to bring, what my book is going to bring, what doors it's going to open, what community is going to be built and come from it, how many more viewers and listeners am I going to get on the podcast, And also, by the way, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you guys share with your mammy, your friends, and your pappy, okay? See you guys on next week's episode of Evolving Through Vulnerability. I'm Mariana. Bye.